Well, good morning and welcome to Convocation 2023. As I always say this time of year, you can feel the fall weather starting as the classes begin to come back. I actually felt a breeze and I thought it's actually going to happen, and then this morning, no. Our theme, try each year to keep it fresh and new and different and try to present some things that are happening. This year, we have some good things to celebrate. I'm going to try not to talk about the pandemic or Ian more than once or twice. If I go 5 times, find me, because I'm so sick of talking about both of those, because we've passed a policy at the board this summer that there'll be no more hurricanes. And so we'll see if that policy sticks. Yeah, let's all hope for that one. So our theme this year is, you're going to continue to see it throughout the presentation and throughout the year, is moving forward. We sort of adopted that last year when we wanted to get students to come back after they had stopped out from that, what I'm not going to mention, thing that occurred, in the past. So I'd like to begin with some moving forward news, things that have happened since the faculty left us right around graduation time. Some things happened midsummer. I wanted to bring everybody up to speed. First of all, if you don't know this, I saw Robert I. Murray here, our ladies softball team won their 3rd consecutive national championship. That's amazing, amazing. It's exciting to see our students compete like that and get the notoriety. It's wonderful. Also, on June 30th, our governor decided to give me 5 new trustees. So we have 5 new trustees who have joined the college. On Monday, Dr. Peel and I met with them and did an orientation. They'll start as new trustees in September at our first meeting. So we now have a full complement of 9 trustees. We haven't had that in a while. Also, this year's legislative session, I would say, was the best in history. It was, you've heard me say every year, woe was us. I'm not going to say that this year because the work, Dr. Deebley and I spent a lot of time up in the hallowed halls, and we have a new lobbyist group, and we have leadership in the form of Senate President Kathy Passidomo, and that made a huge difference. For example, that L building that got beat up in that thing that occurred in the fall, that didn't get beat up enough as far as I'm concerned? Well, we got $14.7 million to renovate that building, and it's actually going to happen. So, but with construction comes pain. So bear with us. Those folks who had to move out of the Henry Hall and K building know what I'm talking about. That building is slated to be finished up late this fall. So that things do come to an end, construction does end. Also on our Collier campus, the E and F buildings, which are the sort of the center spine of campus, if you're not familiar with it, when we built that building and those buildings in '91, we decided it'd be a good idea to set a campus in the middle of the Everglades and wrap it in sponges. So that didn't work out well. And now we got a $7.5 million appropriation to fix and remedy that and turn it into STEM classrooms as well. So $23 million in renovation this year. So that's historic for this institution. And we also got $1 million. We asked for a special appropriation to help support our new RIST cybersecurity program. And, well, it's not quite $1 million. It's $970,000. And so that was another appropriation. So it was just a great year all the way around. And so we were able to do a lot of things. And so you're not going to hear me moan and groan this time. We're going to go back and we're going to ask for more because we have leadership for 3 years. This year we have Senator Passidomo one more time. And next year, Senator Ben Albritton. Senator Ben Albritton. No relation. But I call him my cousin, and we're going to hope. He's going to be the president of the Senate. So we have leadership, and that makes a big difference. So a lot of the things you're going to see today are going to be looking forward to support, external support, as always, either private or state. And we think we have a good case to make on many of these. So as we move forward, I want to talk to you about 3 operational goals that I've asked the cabinet to work with me on in beginning now and over the next 5 years. And here they are. Enrollment and graduation rates. We've been moving forward on this goal for my entire time as president and continue to graduate prepared students based on the commitment and dedication of everyone in this hall today, and I thank you for that. We're recovering from the enrollment hits we took as a byproduct of, the thing. But head count is within 400 students of where we were this time last year, and we're closing the gap. The returning student head count, which many of those were impacted, because they had to stop out, is up 20%. Walk-in advising is up about 15%, which is a positive leading indicator of continued enrollment growth. So more work to do. The entire nation, certainly the state of Florida and this area, had double whammies on this, and it impacted people in economic areas all across. So this is work we have to continue to do. So you know about that one. Well, while we're leaders in this region of preparing students for further education or work, we're also looking for ways for FSW to move forward to become even more of a leader. So my next operational goal is to expand our reach through centers and institutes. Last year, we launched the Center for Undergraduate Research. And thanks to a strong team of faculty led by Dr. Chase, we've moved this center forward, and we're already being seen as a leader in this area. Our Center for International Education is well established. We had a large group of students and faculty return from not only our signature program in Florence, but also 4 or 5 other countries this summer. I think I see Mike out there there he is. Good news, we've just added 2 new destinations, Greece and Hungary. So we're continuing to expand and, yes, moving forward. You are all aware that we continue to move forward in the area of workforce development. We're choosing wisely here and focusing on areas in which our students can move to high-wage jobs and programs that complement our current excellent academic programs. So I'm excited to share with you that we're launching our Career Connections Center this fall. You'll be hearing more about it as some videos play. But I'm equally excited about a new institute it's in the making, and that is the Institute of Innovative and Emerging Technologies. About 100 of you attended an AI session about 3 or 4 weeks ago that was actually sponsored by the Institute. As we think about moving forward, I see FSW as a current leader in this area, and you're about to see others who share their views.
What do you see as FSW's strengths to become a leader in workforce development?
FSW's strengths in becoming a leader for workforce development include our exceptional relationships with our industry partners, our willingness to stay current on the changing needs of the healthcare workforce, our long-standing reputation of our programs, our faculty and staff, and our graduates' performance, and our affordable, high-quality, rigorous programs.
How will workforce programs enhance our students' opportunities for employment, further degrees, and advancement in their fields?
By offering affordable and accessible degree and certificate options, which are often tailored to meet the needs of the local job and community markets, this will increase a student's likelihood to complete a certificate or degree, which in turn will open the door for employment or advancement in a current job.
We are creating articulation agreements with universities that allow our bachelor students to enter master's programs seamlessly. We are working to create mentorships and internships through the Workforce Development Department. Connecting students to employers is key.
Give an example of how workforce and academic degrees can go hand in hand.
Here at FSW, we have 59 academic programs of study. 58 of those we would consider workforce programs. The workforce programs are aligned with regional demand and connect our students to high-skill, high-wage jobs locally here in Southwest Florida.
What is an example of something new that is happening right now in workforce education?
We have created 3 new badges, QuickBooks Ready, Bookkeeping, and RMI, Risk Management Insurance, that will help students learn about and earn industry certifications and state licensure opportunities. Also, we're really excited to announce the grand opening of our Career Connection Center coming this fall. We're hiring career coordinators, and they will have hours at each FSW service location each week.
What is the Institute of Innovative and Emerging Technologies?
The Institute will promote innovation and development at FSW and will serve as a conduit for emerging technologies, innovative ideas, and collaboration within all areas of FSW. This can lead to new technologies, processes, and methodologies that can create social and economic impacts for FSW. It will serve as a platform to prepare students faculty and staff for the future of FSW by creating a technically advanced community through professional development, certifications, collaboration, and learning. The Institute will also enhance the reputation of FSW as a leading institution in innovation and emerging technologies, allowing FSW to attract talent, transform operations, and promote technologies. The Institute will be the catalyst for innovative education, preparing students for today's technologically advanced workforce.
What are the primary objectives of the Institute, and how do they align with the broader goals of FSW?
At the biggest level, inspiring learning, fostering innovation, enhancing the college's agility and adaptability. Technologies will emerge and new ones will come right behind them. The Institute provides a structure and a way of leveraging technologies to support access, well-prepared graduates, and a vibrant community.
In what ways will the Institute equip students with the skills and knowledge needed for the jobs of the future?
We are living in an era defined by the rapid evolution of technology, and the rate of change is unprecedented. I think we can all agree from our own experiences that to be successful in today's workforce, digital literacy is important. But to truly thrive, students will need to achieve more than that. I'd say they need to achieve a digital fluency. So the goal of the Institute is not just to train students on how to use technology, but by engaging them in research and collaborative learning spaces, we aim to teach them how to think critically about the purpose and value of using technology, how to analyze and critique the output and products of those tools, and ultimately how to effectively communicate truthfully and authentically through technology.
Why is it crucial for educational institutions like FSW to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to teaching emerging technologies?
The big picture answer is that generative AI has been a wake-up call in terms of how fast emerging technologies can move. The world is on the cusp of a big leap in quantum computing, which will introduce speed and power we can't even imagine. At the same time, the world's challenges are unrelenting. We have more powerful levers than we've ever had, and matched with the drive and brilliance of our FSW students, we can be impactful in huge ways on an ongoing basis. On a really practical level, emerging technologies are going to give rise to very lean organizations and new kinds of educational institutions. We have to connect the promise of the new with our well-established depth and our tradition of excellence. So we're offering our graduates both the workplace skills they need, but also the human skills they need to navigate and thrive in an increasingly complex world.
How does the Institute of Innovative and Emerging Technologies position FSW as a leader within the Florida college system?
The Institute of Innovative and Emerging Technologies makes FSW a leader in the Florida college system because we're on the cusp of something that many of the other Florida colleges don't even know about yet. For instance, the University of Florida has already dedicated funds, astronomical funds, to an entire AI college. Every faculty member would be schooled in AI. Every student would be using AI. We're following in UF's footsteps before other community colleges even know what's going on. So we're becoming a bold leader, and we're an open access leader. We're not just giving those funds and those resources to students who have gotten perfect grades and who have parents who support them. We're giving those funds to the single mothers out there. We're giving those funds to the career changers who are, coming back in their 40s to learn something new, and to the dual enrollment students who are trying to earn their associate's degree while they're in high school. We're becoming a leader by giving resources to everybody, not to just those that can afford it.
And Jason has assured me that all of this is not going to cause Skynet to become self-aware. That was the one thing that I took away from the AI program 3 or 4 weeks ago. It is it's scary and daunting, and I actually played a little bit with the chat GPT. It's the first time I've messed with it. It's amazing how it will speak back to you. I know that those of you for a while who've been dealing with students writing papers, this is going to be challenging. It's a brave new world with this generative AI. So I've discussed how we move forward as an institution, and it is only possible because of excellent individual leaders, some of whom you've just seen. This all leads to my third operational goal: mentoring and succession planning. Now, for some people, succession planning seems like everybody's getting ready to quit. No, I think it's our responsibility as leaders in the present to realize, we have a shelf life. I certainly sense mine, and everybody realizes that we need to make sure people are coming forward and going to be able to fill those roles. That is our responsibility, and I think it's something we take very seriously, and we're going to be taking it more formally seriously this year. One of the many good suggestions that came from Dr. Bilski and my college conversations we did this past spring, we were visiting the campuses, was a suggestion to do more in the way of academic leadership development for those interested in moving into leadership positions. In fact, Brandon, are you here today? Brandon Jett? Where's Brandon? There you are, Brandon. Brandon reminded me at our BOT meeting in June, and thank you, Brandon. It is something we've done, a little informally, but now we want to really make this formal and more available to the broad, both faculty, starting with faculty and moving also into staff resources throughout the year. So last week in our cabinet meeting, we did something a little different. Instead of figuring out ways to spend money, we did sit down and figured out, what does it mean to everyone in this room as the leaders of the institution, what does leadership mean to them? What are different aspects and this is some things we basically threw out. We took some time, wrote down some ideas, and then discussed them. And I think if you take a look at these for a minute, able to admit mistakes, I think that's a crucial one because we're human and we make them daily. But also being empathetic, being authentic. If you can't be authentic, fake it. I always say, but integrity is, that's something you can't buy. You either have it or you don't, and you have to practice that on a daily basis. So all of these things are facets we all talk about what we think is leadership, but we need to do something, I think, a little more formal. So talking about how to cultivate our academic leaders, I've reached out to some of our excellent academic leaders to share their views with you today.
We've asked some of our other academic leaders to share with you their thoughts on leadership and what makes an effective leader. And later, we will introduce you to Dr. Newhart, who will be spearheading our new Leadership Academy at FSW.
How would you describe academic leadership?
For me, academic leadership is really the sense of responsibility to those we serve, and it's about the willingness to do what it takes to make important decisions that have a positive effect on education. That's really what all leaders do in education.
What is an area in which FSW is already a leader? Where would you like to see the college go?
I think FSW is a leader in providing affordable, student-centered, in-demand programs offered in a variety of modalities, as well as undergraduate research, international education, and other student support services. I would like to see the college to continue to provide its affordable, high-quality education while growing these student opportunities in the upcoming years.
FSW is the leader in open access educational opportunities in our 5-county area. We really do help students develop the talents to enhance not only their lives but the economy of the region. I think FSW can continue to expand its programs, especially its workforce programs, to support the local economy.
What is one goal you've had as a leader? How have you progressed on that goal?
We are here to support student success. The key is to provide faculty the needed resources, and that enables them to build student success. I think my school has worked hard to do this through advising, through Canvas support courses such as a student resources course, an adjunct support course, and more recently through open test prep courses for certifications.
What interested you initially in academic leadership?
I became interested in academic leadership because I wanted to be an agent of change for students. I wanted to have the opportunity to create and support an environment centered around challenging opportunities, which would motivate and encourage faculty to grow and develop professionally as they prepare our future educators.
What are the most important characteristics of an effective leader?
The most important aspects of an effective leader are a willingness to collaborate, true reciprocal communication, making sure that you always prepare yourself, and to do your homework.
To me, a leader is someone who thoughtfully listens to their colleagues, who inspires others to learn, to grow, and to do their best. Good leaders aren't afraid to make decisions, but they're also not afraid to make mistakes. They are, after all, human.
What are the more difficult struggles for a leader?
For me, I think the most difficult struggles come from your limited resources, especially time. The semesters move very fast. There's only so much time to accomplish all the wonderful things we want to do. This means occasionally having to make hard calls and sharing disappointing news.
What do you find most enjoyable about being in a leadership role?
Here at FSW, really, the best part of my job is working with truly wonderful faculty, staff, and students. That makes all the difference in the world and in my job.
What advice would you give someone who is interested in a leadership role?
To an aspiring leader, I would say be ready. Be ready to ask for what you want, to ask for advice and take it. Take risks beyond your comfort zone. Be ready to pivot when necessary, even when you spent a lot of time on one track and it just may not work. Be ready to build a community that provides the support that you need to maintain your balance and to thrive. Always stay true to yourself. Integrity and honesty are the most important characteristics that a strong leader can bring to a team. The journey to academic leadership will be filled with twists and turns and bumps along the way, but stay the course. It will be worth it.
Think of someone you believe is a good leader and describe what you think makes them a good leader.
Leadership is not always easy, but what it takes really is a constantly positive outlook, a sense of the future, vision, responsibility for the common good, kindness, and thoughtful consideration of the leader's impact on others. And we have many leaders at FSW who fit those characteristics. And I don't need to name names, but I know that we have great leaders here.
I would add tenacity to that list, because one thing about in academic leadership or leadership in general, people always talk about your vision. What is your vision? I struggle with that one. Like I said that to our cabinet, I say, I'm not really know that I have a vision, but it's the vision, I think it's a collective share that comes from talking to people about where we should go. But if you don't have the tenacity to stay with it, the vision will never materialize. So I add that one to the list. So I said we plan to make it formal. With that for us, that's going to be launching of a new leadership academy at the institution. This is something I wanted to move forward for a long time. That is, offer leadership development to potential leaders, and this is the perfect time. We were able to bring in a great leader who will facilitate this important strategic priority to assist with this effort.
My name's Dr. Ian Newhard, and I'm thrilled to be able to say hello and provide greetings to my new colleagues at Florida Southwestern State College. I've been in education for about 35 years at both the K-12 and the higher ed level. I've worked in public and private education, and I've also worked at the Florida Department of Education at the policy level. So I'm thrilled to be able to bring all of those skills and experiences to bear on my new role, which is Deputy Chief of Staff for Strategic Priorities here at FSW.
Why did you decide to join FSW?
The opportunities at FSW for me to work at the institution level are really exciting for me. I've worked in both student affairs and in academic affairs for about the last 15 years, but here at FSW I'll be working on college-wide initiatives and really helping to advance the President's strategic priorities.
What do you feel FSW does well? And in what areas do you feel FSW is poised to become a leader?
So FSW has a great reputation statewide for academics. You've got things like the International Education Program, the Honors Program, undergraduate research, and so those are very strong aspects of this institution. You've also got national championship athletic teams, and that's a major plus for students and for the community to see FSW in a very positive light. But I think there are still opportunities to lead within the organization and statewide. And I think one area is within workforce education. Putting new programs into place that meet the workforce needs of this community draws new students into the institution and provides exposure to the community for our institution. And so that's a place where we can continue to grow and develop and lead.
What excites you about the opportunity to work with future leaders at FSW?
I think it's an amazing opportunity. I started my career as a teacher, and so the idea of being able to educate and see people grow personally and professionally, that's a really strong core value for me. So the ability to come to FSW and to facilitate a leadership development program, that resonates really strongly with me.
What are your goals for the new Leadership Academy?
I'm glad you asked that question. The first one really is to support President Albritton in his desire to focus on leadership development and succession planning at FSW. We want to develop the leadership skills and abilities of FSW personnel so that they can continue to develop in their careers and prepare them to step into leadership roles when the opportunities become available. Another goal would be to take a deep dive into leadership at the dean and director level, and also at the cabinet level, to show interested participants what those jobs really entail. Many might have an idea, but they've never had an opportunity for extended conversations or the ability to pose questions to different leaders in these roles. I'd say a third goal would be for participants to be able to identify and investigate their own leadership styles, their strengths and their preferences, by using assessments that provide feedback and foster self-reflection. Another goal is to use case studies. We want to feature these case studies to explore and discuss leadership challenges, and then evaluate different options to respond to those situations. The case studies will be designed on real-life scenarios that leaders face in their jobs every single day. And then finally, we want to learn from the participants. What do they need as developing leaders? We may think we know, but the participants can help us identify specific needs and develop optional, just-in-time training sessions to meet those needs and provide targeted solutions.
Well, I hope you see that FSW is moving forward. This is a good way to cameo our newest member of the cabinet. That is Dr. Ian Newhart, and it is Ian. Probably that's helpful because I don't want to think about Ian ever again. So Ian is with us today, joined us at the beginning of August, and is going to be leading the Academy and other strategic priorities for us. We're moving forward, and these 3 operational goals are part of that work. But you're going to see applications for the Academy come out about the 1st of September. We're going to ask you to submit these back in by the middle of the month, and we hope to launch this in early October. This is going to be a great offering here. So our 3 operational goals aren't just inspirational or aspirational. They're actually very concrete, something that we feel very important that needs to happen over these next 5 years for certain. So I'd like to leave you with one thought as the faculty head over to U Building for your 10 o'clock meeting with Dr. Bilski. We aren't born leaders. Rather, we learn to lead. There's an old adage that I heard years ago when I said I wanted to be a college professor. And they said, well, you're going to teach as you were taught. And I said, well, okay, yeah, I buy into that, but I also think I can do things differently and bring in my own personality and style. And I think that's what everyone tries to do. But so I don't think it's simply, well, it is what it is. You don't either have leadership skills or you don't. They can be honed. They can be improved. Where's Gus Cameron? Gus, I'm going to pick on you. There you are. Hey, Gus. Gus is probably learning that right now. Gus just joined Dr. Schott as the Associate Dean in the School of Pure and Applied Sciences. In 1995, I did exactly what you're doing right now. And I thought I knew, and I didn't know. But it's great, some things come at you and you drink water from a fire hose, that kind of thing. But to have the ability, I wish we'd have had the Academy, give you some secret, but we'll give you the magic handbook and you'll have all that and you'll get all that. It's called, Secrets to the Dark Side of the Force. That's what we do. So my commitment to you as the institutional leader is to keep learning every day, and I do. I learn from my wife, who's here today, daily, 3-4 times a day. And my hope for each of you who is interested in becoming a leader, join the Academy, join the Leadership Academy, hone your skills. We can never have too many good leaders. One thing that a former chancellor I used to work with, and Dr. Bilski knows well, he used to say, we're in no danger of overeducating Floridians. No danger. This was a response to when we were moving into the baccalaureate programming, and people were saying, now mind your place, stay in your lane, you're getting too big for your britches. You've heard all that stuff. Well, that was 20 years ago. FSW moved into that as a former Edison in 2004. And we were told, mind your place, and he said, well, was it I forget, it was like 1 in 50 had a baccalaureate degree at the time. We used to use, you can, lie with statistics daily, but he would make up these things. He would say, there's no danger. I'd say there's no danger in providing more leaders. People say, well, if you got all leaders and no followers, everybody can be both, and depending on the role you're in. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get in it and be a part of it. And I'm going to say it, okay? I'm going to say it. So maybe instead of saying, go Bucks, maybe I should say, go forward, Bucks. Live long and prosper. Have a great fall semester. See you soon.